Hello and welcome to the Dustin Eric Podcast Show brought to you by Mimosa Networks. Hi, I'm Dustin.
I'm Eric.
We're on episode number 37 today, talking about a brand new product, the Mimosa Management Platform, or MMP. So some of you might already know about the MMP. It's been going on in beta for several months now. I know that there's a lot of people out there who are downloaded it, or at least have downloaded MMP and have installed it. I'm not sure if you're actually using it or not, but it is an alternative to our Mimosa Cloud platform. So it's basically a standalone system that you install on your own network that you can manage your devices through instead of using our cloud. Just another option for you guys that are using Mimosa Cloud and want to put it on your own network.
So with the standalone localized platform, what happens with the current cloud?
So currently the cloud is staying. I know that previously we had mentioned in some release notes that the cloud was going away, but that is incorrect. The current iteration of the Mimosa Cloud will be sticking around. So you'll have either the online cloud to choose from or your own standalone instance on your own server and your own deployment. You can't use both. It's either going to be one or the other. So your devices will either talk to the online cloud or your own cloud.
Can I run this standalone on my Windows 10? What's it require? What do you got to do to get
no,
going?
I know I've tried, and I think that Jeff has tried to install it on a random laptop, but it doesn't work. So the minimum requirements for this MMP is a server running Linux with an 8-core processor, 16 gigabits of RAM, and a 60 gigabit hard drive available, or space available on that hard drive. So we want you to keep in mind too that as you increase the number of radios, the server requirements increase as well. So this is for up to 5,000 radios. But as you grow larger and larger, say you have 50,000 radios, you'll need a server that can handle 50,000 radios.
So if I've got and 60 gigs with all that data and all those devices I'm managing, that's a lot of space anyway, right?
It is, but keep in mind you have all the graphing data and all the events and everything else that your server has to store. So you have to have all that space to store all that data.
Oh, okay, so but 60 is not too much for today's.
No, 60 is like really small compared to what most people have today. So it's not like you're going to have trouble finding a 60 gig hard drive, because there's terabyte hard drives out there for extremely cheap pricing.
So I've got a lot of data, and I'm going back a week or a couple months or whatever. What how do I migrate all my data onto my new Linux platform or whatnot?
So historical cloud data unfortunately can't be moved over with the installation of your new cloud. So basically you'd have to go back to your cloud account and look at the data before the transition over to your standalone to look at any old data. There's no way for us to move that over to your cloud, to your personal cloud. So once the devices hook up, you'll see data starting at that point on.
Oh, okay. Can I let's see, can I manually do it on my side? Can I bring, or no, I'm going to take my devices and their states they're in and bring them right into the MMP and I'll just go history from there, right? I'll just move out from there.
Right. So you can go log back into your cloud account, look at everything prior to changing, and then you can compare it to once you've moved over to your own cloud, if you really need to look back at a few months ago kind of data.
Gotcha. Okay. What's this going to cost? I know there's a free tier and you get X amount of devices on the free tier.
There's a free version of MMP, which is exactly like the current Mimosa Cloud that you have. So if you were to download the free version and install it, it would perform just like what you're used to on the Mimosa Cloud. There are also different licenses. So we have 4 different licenses for this. It's Basic, Pro, Extended, and Multi-Server. So the basic version is just basic features. The Pro version comes with additional security features, graphing features, more data. You can go back and look at devices over 6 months or a year, whereas we only are able to store 3 months of data on our cloud servers.
And then the basic, obviously, there's some security built into that, obviously, because we're talking server, platform, et cetera. So,
Right. And
uh,
so the extended license will allow you to have up to 50,000 devices on a server. And then the multi-server will allow multi-server instance redundancy and scaling up to 100,000 devices. So, and you could do 2 servers, but if one server fails, then your one remaining server isn't going to be able to handle 100,000 devices. So this is made where you basically have a server cluster with, maybe 4 or 5 different servers. If one fails, the other 4, pick up the slack of the 5th one. But, just having 2 servers probably isn't going to work out. So we created this license to be installed on multiple servers.
okay. So you mentioned licenses. How do I go to Mimosa support or just log into my account? Is there like a little tab that shows me, hey, MMP is here, push, go to it? Or
So for trial licenses, you can trial the basic and pro packaging by going to your cloud account and go to the MMP license page. If you're actually wanting
okay.
to purchase a license, you have to talk to your favorite most of the distributor or reseller that you buy your equipment from, and they
Oh,
should be able to help you out with that.
that's good to know. Okay, so you can go to the distributors in your
Right. And then
region.
they'll give you the license file, you upload it to your MMP, and then you're good to go.
Oh, okay. You mentioned there's different tiers. There's a free package for so many devices, and then it kind of
Right.
goes up from there.
So the minimum, the free package is 5,000 devices, and then if you want to go higher than that, you have to start buying other licenses.
That's a good chunk on the basic. Okay, gotcha.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot of devices.
Good
So
devices on the free. And I'm sure, and there's security built in because we're talking servers here and Linux and all that. So there's some kind of security even on the basic package.
right.
So I've got all this. I've got all these devices. Can I take the history of some of my devices and my radios, and can I integrate them in or migrate them into my new platform? Or
No,
is that
you
possible, or how does
no,
that work?
you can't pull historical data from the cloud platform over to your MMP.
So okay, so I kind of just once I get this MMP going, I just kind of run with it, and I get my historical data builds from there. And if I
Right.
need to
So
go
you'd have to,
back,
like mentioned before, you'd
go
have
back.
to log into your cloud account and
Right.
look at historical data from the time you swapped. If you need to look at something before the time you swapped over.
Just go back to my account and do what we've been doing.
Right.
Okay. Yep. Um,
But speaking of devices and stuff, you do need to make sure your radios are updated to the correct firmware versions so they'll communicate with MMP. So there's several different firmware versions out there for our devices. So
right.
for radios to connect, it's able to be 155 for B11, which just came out this week, 254 for the B24,
Hmm.
for the A5C and its clients, so the C5, C5C, and C5X. It's 281 for the B5 and the B5C, point to point, C5, C5X, point to point, and 281 for the A5X and its clients. So, C5, C5C, and C5X.
Oh,
So
okay.
once you've upgraded, you can change the NMS option to self-hosted. So there should be a new page in your radios that says
Hmm.
NMS or cloud management, and you can change the dropdown from Mimosa managed to self-hosted. Once you've changed it to self-hosted, you have a slot there to put in an IP address. So this is the IP address for your MMP server. So the MMP server has to be able to communicate with your devices for it to work.
Oh,
So it'll
so
have to be on the same network, or there'll have to be some kind of routing on your network for for the radios to be able to communicate with your MMP.
so that's a good incentive. If I'm 18 months behind and using some old firmware, um, there's a chance that it might not connect the dots or handshake with
So
the
it
MMP.
definitely won't work unless you're using the right firmware.
Oh, okay. So kind of get on board and update everything we would have. Okay, I got you.
Right. And
All right.
I've got tons of documentation that I've written up for all this stuff. It's on our help site. So just
Yeah.
go to help.mimosa.co, click
Yeah.
on cloud, and there's a whole section there for MMP that you can look at for installation, on how to use it, all kinds of stuff.
Right. Let's see. So if I get the free, let's see, I'm on the free version, about 5,000 or up to 5,000 devices. How does that license work? Do I need to renew it, or um, oh, is there a trial for upgrading the tiers? Can I try it for 30 days or something? How
So
does that work?
there's no up. You don't have to re-up your free
Okay.
version of MMP. It's just yours. Um, Mentioned a little while ago, there is a trial.
Okay.
So you can download the trial key from your Mimosa Cloud account and apply that to your MMP, and it'll enable the pro features for you, so you can
Right.
see if they're something you want or not, and then
Okay.
you can decide to buy a license key if you want. Otherwise, it'll just revert back to the free version, and you can just go on with your life and not have to worry about it.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Let's see. Linux. How about how do I get help if I'm not a Linux guy? I can do a small amount with some of the specific routers and stuff, but where do I go to get some help? Chat supports, etc.
Um, we'll be able to help you with a limited amount of stuff,
Okay.
but it really would be beneficial if you had a Linux or server
Guy.
expert of some kind working for you or working with you. Um, with the tons of different servers out there and different versions of software for Linux, it would be really hard for us to know the answer to every single thing you run into. Um,
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a lot.
we have some basic troubleshooting things that we can do, but
Okay.
and we have the MMP team, engineering team that can help. But if you're not using the version that we specify, it'll be really hard for us to really troubleshoot that. So you really have to follow the directions, like what version we're using and how to install it and all the stuff you have to install with it. You really need to follow those directions very closely.
And I saw your one of your updated MMP help things on our help support too. That was neat. It looked like it was updated and had, hey, go to do this, do this, do this, click this, do this. That was cool. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
got examples of the commands you have to run. It's not
yep. Yep.
exactly what you type in because you're not installing it on my server, but at
Right.
least you have the examples there and you can change it to fit what you're doing. So
Okay, so we can get in there and kind of play around and see where we can get with it. Uh, let's see. Can I? Oh, so we sell radios. We sell radios and antennas. Can I buy any hardware? Can I buy a server from Mimosa or something? Or
no,
what?
since we're radios only, so we're not
All
selling
right.
any kind of server appliances
Okay.
with the MMP installed. That's something that you'll have to do on your own,
Oh,
unfortunately.
okay. Gotcha. Sure. All right.
Well, Eric, do you have
Well,
any other questions for me
I think
that you think that the customers might want to ask?
I think that's it. Help support. No, I think that's about it. Yeah. Thanks. Cool. Yeah. There's a
Okay, well,
bunch
good.
of stuff there.
Well, then I
Awesome.
guess that's it for this episode, everyone. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Looking forward to you guys giving MMP a try. It's cool, but if it's not something that you like, it's not something we're pushing on you. So it's just another tool in the toolbox, as they say. So anyway, we'll see you on the next episode of the Mimosa Podcast.
All right. Thanks, Dustin. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe or follow button to stay up to date with our latest podcast, which will be available on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud.